I want to wish us all happy holidays. I mean, it's holiday today and tomorrow, so it's a time to rest. It's a time to enjoy the break and also make some money in the process. And that's why we're here. So we have it covered. Even during holidays, we still run analysis session because we know some of us, we still love to trade. That's one edge we have at PU Prime. We are always there for our clients. Good morning, Zizi, Babatunde Lawal, Ako Pius, and many others. Pardon me if I can't mention your name. You need to rush into the weekly outlook. So today what we're having is actually the weekly outlook. We're looking at the broad overview of what we expect in the course of the week. All right, so let's start. So this week there are a lot of fundamental events, a lot of fundamental events happening this week. So we start with the fundamentals. Yeah, good morning, Madam Manaji. My weekend was fine. It was great. So we start with today, Monday. Today, Monday, 31st of March. The only fundamental event for the day is, hey, Madam Omotosho, good morning. Is German prelim CPI quarterly, and it's an all-day event. No specific time has been allotted to it yet. So that means you need to trade the euro with a lot of caution, since there is no specific time that has been given. And for Tuesday, now because of time, I will just mention the key events that will happen, which could move the market. For Tuesday, which is tomorrow, 4:30 a.m., or I think it will even start from 1:30 a.m. There's going to be retail sales by 1:30 a.m. tomorrow. That will be late in the night Nigerian time. Like I always say, you can stay awake to trade it or wake early to trade it if you want to. So the choice is yours. And there's no harm in making some dollars in the course of the night. You understand what I mean? And so that will come by 1:30 a.m. That's retail sales. And by 4:30 a.m. tomorrow. So if 1:30 is too early for you, then you could sleep early, like maybe 9, 10, 11, and wake up around 4 a.m. so that you can trade the cash rate, RBA rate statement, and RBA press conference between 4:30 and let's just say 4:30 a.m. That's when the most of the news will take place. So we have cash rate. Cash rate is the same as interest rates, and the RBA rate statement to be released simultaneously by 4:30 a.m. tomorrow. So you can put that in mind and plan towards trading that. And by 5:30 a.m., we have the RBA conference. Then 10 a.m. tomorrow, Tuesday, that will be the core CPI flash estimate, CPI flash estimate. All of them will happen by 10 a.m. in the morning. Those are actually the major events. Then 3 p.m. tomorrow, that'll be the three events from the United States. Combined together, this may likely move the market. That's the ISM manufacturing PMI, JOLTS job openings, and ISM manufacturing prices. So we have a lot of events, about three major events to trade tomorrow, Tuesday. So let's put that in mind. And on Wednesday, the only event for the day on Wednesday is the US ADP non-farm employment change. That's the only news for that Wednesday, and it's a tradable news by 1:15 p.m. Let's put that in our calendar. And on Thursday, firstly by 7:30 a.m., there'll be CPI from Switzerland. This is really likely to move the market. And also unemployment claims, finance services PMI, and ISM services PMI from the United States by 1:30, 2:45, and 3 p.m. All of them will move the market. And finally, on Friday, Friday is actually the big day for the week. And the major event on Friday is the average hourly earnings, non-farm employment change, and unemployment rate. Now, Friday, first Friday of every month is the biggest, day in Forex globally, because that's when the data for employment, which is called the non-farm payroll from the United States, is always released. It's the biggest event globally in the Forex market. And it's also like the most volatile event we do have. And at PE Prime, we have a culture of trading it live. So if you want to join us to trade NFP live this Friday, then join us by Friday by 1:30 p.m. Now there's going to be employment change and unemployment rate from Canada simultaneously, but that's not in our focus. Our focus is actually the American dollar. And we've been doing this for like a year. I think we're going to mark exactly a year this month, or maybe our 11th month by this month thereabout. And I can boldly say that we've had well over 80% win rate when we trade live events at PA Prime. So if you want to join us for that event, then it's a good one. And make sure you have a funded account. And if you have a funded account, you can always top it up, so that you can trade live with us. No, no playing that day. We're going to be making money live. You'll see as it's going to go. Condition is have a funded account. And if you're on the platform this morning, you don't have an account at all with PU Prime, just head over straight away to our website, www.puprime.com. You can just click on that link I just shared now, puprime.com, and open a live trading account. Your account manager will reach out to you and will walk you through the entire registration and verification process. All right, so that's just an overview of what to expect from the uh, fundamentals for this week. Now I'll switch over on the chart so that we can see the technical outlook, for this week. So I'll switch over now to my MetaTrader chart. All right, I've switched over to my MetaTrader chart. Now, we don't have much for the week technically, except for some few instruments, which I will show us briefly. Okay, somebody's asking about GBP AUD. Okay, yeah, it's actually one of my instruments, or the instruments on my radar that I'm really putting a lot of attention on for this week. But I'll start with the US dollar because we're going to be having the NFP on Friday, so it's good we know what is happening to the dollar. Now, if you have followed my analysis on the USD CHF in recent times, I've said that I'm expecting a bullish break on this instrument. And my outlook still remains, the same up to now, even though in the course of last week we had quite some retracement, but then it's a short term. I still believe in a bullish breakout of the dollar. So this is the USD CHF on the daily time frame, and you can clearly see that price has been trading around a key level, a level that was a support there, a resistance there, and a support here, and likewise a support. So being a key level, technically we're looking at price bouncing back in a bullish direction. And not only that, it's now very, very clear that we're having an inverse head and shoulder pattern, which will lead to some bullish breakout. So in the course of this week, we need to, pay a lot of attention. We need to pay a lot of attention to the news events and the technicals, that will be released. That's in the news event that will be released, and even what is happening technically on the chart. If in the course of the week price is able to break out above this neckline region over there, then we're going to witness a massive bullish breakout on the US dollar. Now, the massive breakout, I want to believe, may even come more eventually towards the end when NFP will be released. So if NFP comes out good for the dollar, that might be what will break, that neckline region. But between now and that time, there is still expected to be some bullish movement on the dollar, either from the fundamentals on the dollar in the course of the week, or even from the technicals. Now, if we switch over to the 4-hour, this is what we can see. The price is actually touching the tip of that support zone. And that is equally some sentiment that may lead to some bullish movement. And let's take it down to 1 hour finally. All right, so this is a 1 hour version. We're not really seeing much on the 1 hour. Let's go down to 15 minutes. Even 15 minutes, we're not really seeing much. But then technically, fundamentally, we still hold a bullish outlook on the US dollar. Let me draw my trend lines here. All right. I think the 1 hour is still better. Now, with the current candle that I'm seeing a rejection candle on 1 hour. And the rejection candle is, touching the tip of the trend line. If this current rejection candle closes at the end of the 1 hour, this is the rejection candle I mean. So if it closes like this at the end of the 1 hour, that is by 8 o'clock, we may see price still drop down to the support zone from where we anticipate a reversal. So put your eyes closely on this instrument. We might have some retracement. Retracement is temporary movement of price against established trend. So we might have some retracement before we have the final bullish breakout. It can occur in the course of today. So put your attention clearly on the USDCHF. And the second instrument I will talk about today is the GBP AUD. Now, there's a GBP AUD on the daily time frame. You can clearly see that price, is trading at a resistance level on the resistance zone on the daily time frame. And if there's no sufficient volatility to break out above this level, what we are expecting the possibility of the reversal. Farouk, please can you just don't post this again? I will show attend to everyone. You're distracting by constantly posting on gold. We'll get there. It is how it runs. I will first give him analysis, and after which, everybody is free to post whatever they want me to check. And if you post it once, definitely I'll check it. So don't keep, repeating it like that. It's kind of distracting. I hope that is noted. All right. So price is currently trading at a resistance level on the daily time frame. And if you switch down to the 1 hour, okay, let's start by 4 hour. Okay, let me even go weekly. Let's see what's happening on the weekly. So we have a recent high there, and it's actually a resistance level even on the weekly. It's still a resistance on the weekly, and I have a previous. All right, so we have a previous kind of support or a key level here that price has reacted to in previous time, which includes this whole region here. So those areas are now acting as a kind of a resistance for price to, price reaction is expected here. Possibly could be some slight movement, but then some bearish reaction is expected. So if you go down to the 1 hour, we have some rejection. I mean, we have a rejection candle. Sorry, not some. A rejection candle over there some few hours back. And that shows that the sellers are trying to kind of take over the market. So I'll draw my trend line right here and draw the second one at the back. And that gives me a rising wedge. So we can look out for a bearish breakout on GBP AUD in the course of today. So let's take note of that. That's specifically to the person asking, yeah, that's my view. How the bearish outlook on the GBP AUD in the course of today. And if this works out just in line with this setup, your entry might be below. You can see there's a confluence right here between the trend line and that Fibonacci level. So personally, I'll be looking at a breakout below that Fibonacci level to look at taking a sell. And I might target Fibonacci 50. Let's check the number of pips, just on a random note. You might be looking at between 30 pips and possibly 60 pips, bearish movement on the GBP AUD in the course of today. So let's take note of that, as we start the trading day. We're bearish, we're bullish on the USD CHF, both on 4 hour, 1 hour, daily swing, and on the GBP AUD, we are bearish on the GBP AUD. Now, the third instrument I'll show us for today is the US oil. That's the USO USD on our platform. All right, and this is the US oil. Now, let me start the analysis fresh so that we can understand. I've been watching this since last week. Now, earlier on, okay, let me start from the weekly. Anything on the weekly? No, nothing really much on the weekly. All right, so on the daily time frame, there is a descending trend line here where price is expected upon touching the lower highs. The third time we expect a downward movement in price. So that's a bearish bias. And there is equally an support, inner support turn resistance here. That's between this region and this region, which also expands to the tip of the daily candle here. So technically that also is giving us a bearish outlook. So on the daily time frame, we have and possibility of a bearish movement on two spots there. And on the 4 hour, you can see that we have a rising wedge pattern. All right. Now price has broken out, that's broken out below the lower trend line. So it's actually in a bearish zone. But then we need to take caution. RSI is just at 50. So this is what I'm seeing may happen. Price is currently retracing. It may retrace a little further before finally making a drop. This one is not too clear, but it might be trying to form a kind of a head and shoulder, all things being equal. And like I always say, even if it doesn't, don't get hung up on patterns. If it works out, fine. If it doesn't, that doesn't necessarily mean the price will not sell or go in the direction that is expected. All I'm looking out for now is whether it forms a pattern or not. If price is able to break out below this support, minor support zone here, then once the new candle opens below the support zone, can trigger a sell on the US oil. It's a 4 hour setup, it's a swing setup, and it's going to move appreciably, trust me. It's only if it doesn't break out below, fine. But if it breaks out below that support zone, then we'll have a massive bearish movement on the US oil. All right, those are the three instruments I want to analyze for us today. There are other ones. The JPY pairs are generally bearish, but then they're already moving and they need to look for a retracement before you can look for an opportunity, you know, to uh, to trade them. But generally, the JPY pairs are bearish, generally speaking, bearish. But like I said, wait for a retracement. Now, there are some other instruments I dropped the analysis for us last week in the groups. I dropped it in all the groups. So one is BTC USD. If you please, when we drop those analysis, always follow them because they are carefully researched. I dropped an analysis on BTC USD last Friday, and price was just, I think, somewhere around here when I dropped the analysis. Now, BTC has dropped massively. So if you're there, you're a BTC trader, you just lost a massive opportunity. BTC has dropped to the tune of over 377, but 300, yeah, 370 something, 360 something, something pips, since I dropped the analysis. It went exactly in line with the analysis dropped. I also dropped an analysis on Euro CHF, but that is yet to really work out as planned. Possibly in the course of this week, we might see Euro CHF go in the direction of the analysis. I'm trying to find it so I can show us. All right, so I hold a bullish outlook on Euro CHF, and this this is my reason for that. Currently, is in a retracement phase, but then I still strongly believe it will still break out. So this is a Euro CHF on the daily time frame. You can see that we have a previous resistance here. This is a previous resistance, price broke resistance, it became support. So technically, we're looking for a bullish movement. And not only that, last Friday here, we ended up, sorry, Thursday, we ended up with a tweezer bottom, which is a confirmation of a bullish movement. As our Friday was a bullish break. But then today, when the week started last night, price, opened for the week below the last Friday candle. It's still nothing to worry about. And that's why if you go down to 4-hour time frame, you see that it looks like it's trying to go bearish, but then it may just form a triple bottom or an inverse head and shoulder. And I still expect the breakout. So there's still nothing to worry about. We are still bullish on the Euro CHF. Now, this is what may happen finally. There is a resistance zone here. So if price retraces as it's doing, when it breaks out above this resistance zone, that will be a time to trigger a buy on the Euro CHF. So I still maintain my bullish outlook on the Euro CHF. And again, if you're there, you're trading, you are a crypto trader, you need to take a lot of caution around XRP. I'll still do this analysis and drop in all groups. It's my major outlook for XRP for this period, not just this week. If you have XRP, yeah, there's the general notion of the bull run the crypto space, but it looks recently that we're having some bearish movement. And as such, if you're trading crypto, please trade with a lot of caution at this period. And one of the things, leading to all this is the current policies of the American government. It's really affecting all markets, including stock markets. Tesla has lost billions, billions of dollars in value since this whole thing started. And there are even information that Elon Musk might be thinking of, resigning from Dodge. That's the agency heads in the US, because it's really affecting his business. Stocks are plunging massively, and it looks like it's affecting the crypto market likewise. Now, for XRP, this is XRP on the monthly time frame. Very, very clear that price hits a resistance level on the monthly time frame. Now, we're in a new month, so that's why we need to be very cautious about this. Price hits a resistance on the monthly time frame, and this proximity we're seeing here is forming what may look like a double top pattern. You understand? And that may lead to a very massive bearish movement. But at the same time, that's not the only thing I'm seeing. I can clearly see a tweezer top right here. So we have a resistance, a tweezer top, both on the monthly time frame. And if we flip down to the weekly time frame, I can clearly see here a head and shoulder pattern, shoulder, head, second shoulder. Now the neckline has been broken. Price has broken the neckline. Now currently, price, yeah, you can see that price broke the neckline, and it retested it with a rejection candle, and it's coming downward. So price is back to that previous, resistance zone, which now becomes a support. If price breaks out below the support zone, I can tell you that price is going to target the next support zone there. So if you have a buy trade on Ripple XRP, I will advise you to trade or to trade with caution. Price may be plunging, but if you have maybe buying and hold, well, you may anytime in future it may reverse back. But all I'm saying is this: if price ever breaks below this support, this resistance tone support zone at let's check out the price. Yeah, at about $2.0725 for each XRP, then price may be plunging down to about 0.47. That's about 4 cents per XRP. So let's take note of that. If you trade crypto, that's my outlook. Yes, we're just waiting. If anything can happen, well, maybe there could be a bounce back from here being a support zone. But like I said, if it ever breaks that support zone, we have long-term bearish movement, XRP. All right, so that'll be all for my analysis for the week. I will attend to the request I'm seeing right on my screen here as we try to round up. All right, so I'll attend to Farouk Olamide Gold. Yeah, gold is an instrument of interest. And from JP Morgan and many other big financial institutions, there's been a bullish outlook on gold. But at the same time, I will encourage us to trade with a lot of caution. For me, I like to look out for confirmations. Don't just jump in blindly into a trade because of a fundamental forecast. It's always good to get a technical confirmation before you place a trade. So gold has been massively bullish in the last, couple of days and in the last couple of weeks. And that bullish outlook may continue. But like I said, still try to make proper entries. Don't just, jump in. Currently, gold is trading at $3,117 per ounce. It's breaking all levels, but it has broken above the trend line. Looks like nothing is holding it back. But this is still my view. I would rather want you can see now the current 1 hour candle is giving us a rejection candle. So I would rather advise you wait for a retracement. If price can retrace and drop to a previous resistance turn support level, then from there you can trigger a buy. And let's try to look out for where we could have that. Okay, so the most recent high before the current one is right here. Wow, that's really far away. Okay, let's go to 1 hour. That's on 4 hour though. All right, so we have a zone here. We have a kind of a previous resistance zone here. Well, you may have to wait for price to drop, then look for a way to buy. Because if you just enter a blind buy here, this is a rejection candle. Yeah, though the 1 hour candle is yet to close, but if you wouldn't just want to enter a buy on this, because this is an indication that price, may fall. So if that happens, then wait for it to come to this support level, and then possibly look for another confirmation candle there before you enter a buy. Even though it's a long-term buy, but it's to be traded with a lot of caution. Don't just enter a blind buy trade. That's the advice. For now, nothing is really clear about it. So when we get clarity, just watch out in your. That's why it's good to belong to our funded client groups, so that when we have a clear setup, we will drop it there for those who are funded. So if you're on the platform this morning again, you don't have an account with you Prime, then you are not a part of that group. You need to open an account and fund it, and reach out to your account manager so that it can be added to our funded, clients group. GPP, New Zealand, USD, JPY, GBP card. Okay, so I'll look at all those GBP pairs. All right, so this is GBP New Zealand, and just like what we saw on the GBP AUD, this instrument is also currently trading at a resistance level on the daily time frame. Let me go down to the weekly, okay, monthly. All right, so we're still good with the daily. So you can see that on the daily time frame, price hits the resistance zone and it's trying to, we're seeing some rejection, though not yet big. Let's go to the 4 hour, 1 hour, okay. So this is a 1 hour time frame for the GBP New Zealand, and we can clearly draw a trend line here and another one at the back to give us a rising wedge pattern. All right, it's looking bearish already, but then that doesn't mean it's time to trigger a sell. RSI is still clearly above 50. So you want to wait for a new candle to break out below the trend line when your RSI is clearly below 50. And at that point, you can trigger a sell on the GBP New Zealand. So we're bearish on the GBP New Zealand. And I'll check the GBP card. All right, so this is the GBP card. All right, so for the GBP card, you can see that price has been in an uptrend for quite some time. And last week, Thursday, Wednesday, Thursday, thereabouts, we found a kind of a bullish engulfing candle up there, which is leading to a slight bullish movement, which we are seeing at the moment. You're welcome, Madam Onaji. However, I think there's a general bearish sentiment around the pound. So when you see 1, 2, 3 pound pairs looking bearish, you need to be careful about taking a bullish trade on any other one. Now, we've seen the bearish sentiment on the GBP New Zealand, the GBP AUD, New Zealand AUD. Now, this is the GBP card. Even GVJPY is currently, undergoing some bearish pressure. So you need to be very cautious. It seems there's a general bearish outlook on this instrument. So don't be deceived by the fact that today's candle is looking bullish on this instrument. Price may reverse, even though, again, I'm saying an inverse head and shoulder, but then I'll still be very, very careful about this instrument. I would rather want to go with the general effect, which is being seen across the other GBP pairs. So I will want to be very careful with this instrument personally for now, except there is a change in the market sentiment. And if we decide to flip down to 1 hour, you'll discover that even though we are seeing an inverse head and shoulder on 4 hour, which is valid in its own right, but I will want to be very, very careful. This can still be a resistance zone. Now, if the person asking about this, if you are not already on the trade on the GBP card, I will advise you to trade with a lot of caution around this instrument. Yes, if price breaks out above this zone, maybe it may buy. But then when you're buying this kind of pair, just buy with your two eyes open. But in case there's going to be a reversal anytime, you can quickly close it because the general sentiment around the pound currently is bearish. All right, so Only is asking what's my outlook on EU, Rotimi Lawal, USD, JPY. So I'll check those two and that's my last analysis for this morning session. Now, my general view is this. I hold the bullish outlook on the dollar based on the what I saw on the USD CHF. So let's check out the dollar index. The dollar index may just give us a clue to all the other pairs we're looking at. Now, this is the dollar index on the weekly time frame. Now, I'm not getting much clarity on what I'm seeing on the weekly time frame for the dollar index. This is giving some room to a bearish movement on the dollar, touch this trend line. So if the dollar still has some room to drop, then we might still be bearish on the USD JPY. So let's check out the USD JPY for confirmation. Yeah, we can see that on the USD JPY. There seems to be some room for some bearish movement, just like what we saw on the dollar index. USD JPY might still drop, a little further, maybe to this support level or to the trend line. But generally, there is weakness uh, on the JPY pairs. I'm not seeing a sharp setup on this one. Is it? I always tell people three things we do in trading: we buy, we sell, we wait. When the market is not too clear, or the best thing you can do is just to wait and see what is happening. When price hits certain levels where you now have some confirmation, that's when you can look at taking a trade. For now, to be honest, the dollar index is not giving the kind of clarity I expect, and that is going to be reflected on what may happen to the dollar. Do I still maintain my bullish outlook on the USD CHF specifically? For the other ones, we can just watch and see what could happen. Because on one angle, this is also looking like it's trying to form an inverse head and shoulder, but it's yet to it's not as clear as what we're seeing on the USD CHF yet. So I'm not getting much clarity on the dollar as at this moment. In the course of the week, we may have a clearer view, but at this moment, we're not really having as much, except if price will drop. Now, this point here is a confluence zone where two trend lines are meeting, except if, I'm not saying it will, except if it drops to that level, fine, then we may have a massive breakout from there. But at this moment, I'm not really having much clarity. Joshua Corey, can we take a short sell on gold on the 1 hour candle if it closes bearish? Well, except you have a confirmation, maybe there's a resistance or a kind of a psychological level. Otherwise, that's why I say trade gold with a lot of caution at the moment. Trade gold with a lot of caution. I would rather advise you wait for price to hit a support because never trade against the trend. You don't know whether the fundamentals may just ignore that rejection candle and say go up. So you don't want to gamble with your trade, except if there is a confirmation of maybe price hitting a trend line, on that 1 hour, or there's a resistance or a psychological level. I will not really advise. I'm not saying it may not sell, don't get me wrong, but it's like trying to gamble. It's not going to be a confirmed sell. But it's better to wait for a buy since the overall sentiment is bullish. So let it retrace, then trade it as it might be going up. So, like I said, finally, I'm not having much clarity around the dollar as at this moment. When we get more clarity, we'll let you know, and that might affect, my view also on the USD. Sorry, on the Euro USD and the JPC USD, because all of them are just they are major currency pairs. They are major currency pairs that the dollar is the one that controls them. And if we're not getting clarity on the dollar, maybe we can't say much about them. This is USD. This is GPUSD. GPUSD is just ranging around ranging around the previous resistance turn support level. So on the weekly time frame, price might still go up, possibly to hit this resistance. It's a possibility. It's not assured. But the thing here about GPUSD for the person asking is, at least this one, we can see some signs. If price is able to break out below this support level, yes, we may get a sell on this one. Yeah, that one is possible. If price breaks that support zone, we may see a sell on the GBP USD. And for Euro USD, Euro USD is not clear at the moment also, just like the USD JPY. So the two that I feel has a little sense of clarity is the USD CHF and the JPUSD, which I'm bullish on the USD CHF. For the JPUSD, like I said, if it breaks below the support level, which I just indicated some few minutes ago, yes, it may sell. If it breaks out below the support, we may see some bearish movement. For Euro USD, USD JPY, I'm not really having clarity on them at the moment. All right, I think I've attended to all the questions, to all the requests I'm seeing here. So please trade with caution. When the market is not clear, don't force a trade. Never force a trade. The job as a trader is to trade in the direction of the trend. Like we always say that the trend is your friend. So when the trend is not clear, that's the time to stay out. Three things we do in trading: we buy, we sell, and we wait. There's always a time to wait. So it's not like it's all the time you come to the market, you must pick a trade. No, there's no clarity. Just stay out and wait for the market to have a clear direction. That is when you can trade. For those that joined us late, we'll be having live trading of NFP this Friday. It's a news event, the biggest event in forex trading globally. And it's usually a volatile event, meaning a lot of movement is expected. If you have never joined us on NFP live trading, you have really missed a lot. And I will encourage you to join us this Friday. Now, the time we'll be going to live will be 1:15 p.m., so the data will be released by 1:30 p.m. The only condition to join this event is to have a funded account with PU Prime. So if you don't have an account with PU Prime at the moment, just go over straight now to our website, www.puprime.com. Go to puprime.com and type in it in the comment section, puprime.com, and open a live trading account. Once you open the account, your account manager will get across to you and guide you through the verification process, and from there you can proceed to funding so that you can join us live on Friday and make live money. You understand? All right, so that'll be the end of the analysis for this morning. And please watch out. We didn't give any direct signal this morning because there is none to give at the moment. The market has not gone to that level where we could drop signals. But in the course of the day, if you're in the funded group, which you should be, then if we see a signal, definitely we'll drop so that you can trade and make money in the market. All right, so that'll be the end for this session. Take care and do enjoy the holidays. Bye-bye.